Not everyone deserves to know your wounds. Some only want to use them when it benefits them. He shared his pain once and watched it become a rumor before it ever became understanding. In a world obsessed with being heard, few people know how to truly hold what's sacred to you. What if protecting your peace means hiding more than you share, even from those closest to you? Today we revisit the quiet strength of Abraham Lincoln and learn what a wise man always hides. Not everyone who listens to your story wants to understand. Some just want something to tell others. You opened your heart, not knowing they only came to feed their curiosity, not your healing. People don't always hurt you out of hate. Sometimes it's out of carelessness disguised as concern. You thought sharing would ease the pain. Instead, it handed your hurt to someone without gentle hands. A listening ear isn't always a safe one. Some just collect secrets they'll later use as weapons. When your pain became entertainment, that's when silence became your only safe place to bleed. They didn't offer comfort. They offered opinions and judged what they never took time to feel. You weren't looking for advice. You were looking for space to be broken without being shamed. What you whispered in trust now echoes in rooms you were never invited into. They said, "You can always talk to me," but turned your truth into a whispered story. Sharing pain doesn't always bring closeness. Sometimes it builds walls where you thought bridges would grow. You gave someone your cracked pieces, and they complained you weren't whole enough to love. They didn't betray you with action. They betrayed you with silence when you needed defense. But pain doesn't just teach you who to trust. It teaches you what never to reveal again. Not every dream needs a witness. Some grow stronger in silence, far from noise and judgment. When you share too soon, people offer doubt before support and fear before encouragement. A wise man moves like a shadow, not to hide, but to protect what's not yet ready. Plans exposed too early become poisoned by opinions, comparison, and the pressure to prove too fast. Every idea doesn't need applause. It needs discipline, solitude, and time to ripen in peace. You don't owe updates to people who never stayed to watch your silent work unfold. Let your work speak when it's done. Until then, let your silence be your preparation ground. The more you talk, the more they expect. And expectation is the enemy of peaceful progress. Sharing your goals can create noise, but working in silence creates gravity. Protect your vision like a seed, buried, unseen, but destined to rise when the time is right. Some people don't attack your plan until they know where to aim. A wise man builds quietly, not because he fears failure, but because he honors the process. Reveal your results, not your roadmap. Those who love you won't need the steps to celebrate the success. But even with guarded plans, there's one battlefield harder to control: the emotions no one sees. Not every storm deserves to be seen. Some are fought in silence, with dignity as your only armor. A wise man cries in silence, not for shame, but because his strength lives behind closed doors. When you learn to master your reactions, you also learn who no longer controls your peace. Real power is staying calm in chaos, not because you're numb, but because you've grown. The loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest. Sometimes it's the quietest who's won hardest. They expected you to beg, to break, to bleed out loud. You left quietly, and that burned deeper. A calm face isn't always peace. Sometimes it's the final wall after 1,000 collapsed inside. Silence isn't withdrawal. It's choosing which battles are worth your breath and which ones aren't. You don't leave the room to escape. You leave to remind yourself you never had to explain. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's the loudest statement a wise man can make without raising his voice. The heart doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just listens and lets the noise pass without invitation. Your pain doesn't owe anyone a performance. Your strength doesn't owe anyone proof. Peace begins the moment you stop performing your emotions for people who don't even look closely. But sometimes, one line says it all. One truth that no mask, no silence can ever hide. A wise man hides 3 things: his pain, his plans, and his peace from those who misunderstand silence. Maybe silence wasn't your way of hiding. Maybe it was your soul's way of choosing peace over noise. You weren't cold. You were careful, with emotions too sacred to waste on careless listeners. Sometimes, what looks like distance is just protection from those who never valued your closeness. You owe no explanation for your silence when your peace is louder than their understanding could ever be. Which of these 3 things have you hidden just to protect a piece of your peace? Has silence ever been your way of surviving what words couldn't fix? If this spoke to you, subscribe for more reminders that your quiet strength is still strength.